Bang, there we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is 2 hours UTC, and it's time again for Astronomy Daily Live. So come on in, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to those who are coming in live. Special welcome to those who are coming in later who, you know, either can't make the live stream because of the time that it is actually live, or you just prefer to watch things later. Either of those things will do just fine. So come on in, welcome, welcome. This is where we gather together, sort of like-minded individuals who have a passion for, you know, science and astronomy and all other kinds of things concerning the universe, and turn off the TV for a while, forget about the news, and just think about astronomical things, about telescopes and planets and binary stars and galaxies and clusters and nebulae and gravity and light and electromagnetism and protons and electrons and quarks and the ether and fusion and dust and rings and rocks, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. That's a lot of YouTube channels have found this niche where they basically talk about one thing over and over and over and over and over again, and one very, very specific thing. And one of the great things about astronomy, and one of the things that drew me to astronomy at a very, very early age, was the fact that there was just so much to it. It's so broad. It's so incredibly broad that even as a very, very young kid, I thoroughly enjoyed having my mind just completely blown. That's sort of a pleasurable experience for me. So I pursued that, and I continue to pursue that to this day. So the science of astronomy has always been part of my life, major part. Always thinking, almost always thinking about something astronomical, either some work I'm doing, or some paper I just read, or thinking about some kind of a podcast or a YouTube channel. Fraser Cain just did an interview with I forget his name, but he's part of this Starshot group. They amongst other things, they want to build these tiny spacecraft that weigh maybe a gram, and they have like a camera on it, or some kind of a device to make some kind of measurements, and they'll get these out into space, and then they'll aim a laser beam at it, and that laser beam will actually push these spacecraft out. And they're talking about being able to accelerate these spacecraft to a significant percentage of the speed of light. So he was talking about being able to get to Proxima Centauri, right, in 4-ish or so years, which is extraordinary. And not to mention what we could do in our own sort of local solar system. I think he said that we'd be able to get to Pluto in days. So, there sort of is a problem, maybe a problem, with slowing down. Now, I think in the solar system, they wouldn't necessarily be going any significant portion speed of light at all. It's not necessary, right? But you can get going pretty darn fast. And so, if you have an object like that asteroid that flew through a couple of months ago, some kind of a interstellar object. Well, at this point, we're not prepared, right, to send a spacecraft to it, right? Because we had, maybe days or weeks or so, and at least even in the modern era, spacecraft take years to build and develop, and then they have to launch it, and then it usually takes years to get to where you're going. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about these nano spacecraft is that they're very, very small, they're very, very cheap, and they're easy and fast to build. So, when you have some kind of object that you want to take a look at, and that you only have a short amount of time to do that, you throw up a bunch of these things out into, get them off the Earth, and then shoot your laser beam at them, push them out there, and have them take images, and you could have several taking a bunch of images, several that have magnetometers, several that have dust sensors. Yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities there. It's a great model. I guess the only thing that I sort of don't like, and it's kind of like, well, it doesn't really matter, is that that is a lot of litter, right, that we're sort of spewing out into the universe. So whether that really matters, I don't know any of the details, but we're talking about very, very, very small spacecraft, centimeters maybe. Anyway, pretty cool. So yeah, things like that, I will churn around in my head, and that's basically what goes on inside of this head all the time. And my reason for doing this live stream was simple, in that I'm doing this anyway, and so why not sort of share this with many others around the world, and see if we can form a little group here that shares a common passion, and just that's it. So I want to say hi to Atta, Uncle Bill. Hey, Uncle Bill, missed you yesterday. Tom is also in the chat, so hey, nice to see you. And on the panel once again is Bobby. What's going on?
Hi, Jay. Uncle Bill was saying that he was not feeling well and stuff.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. I know exactly what he is talking about. So, yep. Yeah, you got to take care of number one, because if you take care of yourself, right, then the rest of the universe will be all that much better. So, yeah, make sure to take care of yourself. That's extremely important. Don't worry about us. Don't worry about anything else. Take care of yourself. But hopefully, you're feeling better, and yeah, yeah. Take care of yourself for sure. Now, I want to remind everybody that we are right in the middle of the Perseid meteor shower. So, um, if you are going to be having a dark sky soon, make sure to get out and take a look as long as it's clear. So I went out. I got up last night around 1 o'clock or so, and went out probably maybe not quite an hour or so, and I think we probably saw maybe 15 or 16 or so in less than an hour or so. So that's not too bad. Definitely not any kind of peak kind of activity. Um, but it's always nice to see the Perseids. I've seen them, so many times that it's sort of like visiting an old friend, and so it is really really nice to see some of the Perseids. They are very fast, very very fast, and not a lot of color, although at least on the brighter ones, I'm pretty sure. Um, they left little um, um, ionization trails that definitely look green. Definitely look green. So very very cool. If you get a chance in the next 24 to 72 hours or so, get out there. It doesn't particularly matter when you get out there. Ideally, you want to observe meteor showers after midnight local time. So, 1 or 2 or 3 a.m. Is sort of ideal, but certainly early evening, uh, no problem at all. You'll definitely see them. Um, just yeah, maybe not quite as many, and yeah. So it was also fun. Last night after this live stream, I went on to Damien Explorers. He does a Twitch channel, mainly birding, but he was at the Maryhill Stonehenge site in South Central Washington State, and that's actually a place that I've visited several times. Several times. They have a replica of Stonehenge there. This one though is completely built, right? So it's not just pillars; it's actually the whole thing. They have the pillars, they have the thing on the top, they have the altar, the whole thing, and I think it's all aligned too. I think so. He was over there. I guess it was a pretty big crowd. I heard like upwards of like 150 or so, and he was out there with his cameras, just pointing up in the sky, and people on the channel just watch for meteors while he made sure the cameras were working okay, and yeah, it was very very cool.
Now, is that still an active show, or we're going to see any live streams of it?
Yeah, I don't. My guess is that people may still live stream this, maybe like for the next 48-ish hours or so, depending on where it's dark, of course. But yeah, I would say that the Perseids are pretty much going to be done in the next couple of days. So now is definitely the time to get out. And I was just over on the, and I'm going to share my screen here. I was just over on the the International Meteor Organization website, seeing if they had updated their chart here, and they have. So as of at least the 12th of August at 23:26 UTC, the zenithal hourly rate was up to 82. So you can see, you know, the previous days here, so how it's steadily climbed. 80, you know, is, I think that's pretty typical. They, you know, they like to advertise bigger numbers, you know, 200, 300 per hour. Whether we see that or not really depends on first, you know, people observing this, collecting the data and reporting it. And, you know, it's kind of interesting, right? For, you know, for everybody observing this around the world, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are out there watching it. The actual number of people who report their observations is very, very low, right? So not a lot of data. But the other and probably the most important thing is you know, the Earth is passing through this cloud of debris that is left over from a comet. You know, comets go around the sun as well, and as they move, they leave all this stuff behind, and you know, it turns out to be, you know, sort of a strip of material. And if the Earth just so happens to pass through that, then we get a meteor shower. And so, you know, the structure of that strip, you know, there are thick parts and thin parts, and it sort of depends on where in that strip the Earth is moving. You know, we'll either see more or less. And actually, you know, seeing these kinds of dips, you know, where it's up and then it's down and up and then down and then up and down, that is telling us something about the structure of this trail. Pretty interesting, right? But usually right in the middle of this trail is sort of the thickest stuff, you know, the most dust, and that would be when we see our peak. Now, have we reached our peak yet? Don't know. The data will tell us. This can either go up or it can go down. so probably, I mean, my guess is that it's probably not going to go up very much more, but who knows? Who knows? Because I think the 13th is usually, you know, predicted to be at least the peak. So we'll see. But yeah, if it's clear where you are within the next, you know, 48 to 72 hours, get out, take a look. You don't need binoculars. You don't need a telescope. It helps if you have like some kind of lounge chair, you know, that you can sort of lean back. And all of the Perseids seem to come from a location in the constellation of Perseus, hence the name Perseids. So you know, keep that in mind, right? I was actually watching Damien's live stream last night. There were at least two meteors that were going completely the wrong way, and they counted those anyway. so you know, you will get these strays that you know, aren't necessarily associated with anything. They're just you know, pieces of dust out there that run into the Earth, and so oftentimes you'll see meteors that aren't moving the right way, and that's what you'll see. That's what you'll see. All right, well, cool. So cheers. This is the hydrogen hydroxide again tonight. Cheers. Check in on the chat here really quick. Yeah, Uncle Bill, I totally agree. I think the potential for that kind of technology is pretty interesting. And as you say, you know, either even without sort of the laser power, you know, just allowing them to drift could be interesting, I guess. And maybe I don't know if I investigated this or not, but I'm not quite sure how they're going to, you know, how those little spacecraft are going to communicate back, you know, because they have to send their data back, and telemetry and all of that. I don't know. I don't know if they would do that with like a regular radio, you know, transmitter, or if they would somehow transmit that info along maybe the laser beam. Not quite sure. I have to investigate that a little bit more. But yeah, very, very exciting project there for sure. So the other thing, go ahead.
After your live shows, are there like any links to those live streams of those meteor showers? If not, can you post them after the show or what? On the Discord?
Yeah, you know, if I find any after the live stream here, I will post some links on the Discord server. Uncle Bill, I think, is sort of doing exactly the same thing. So yeah, yeah. If you find any, definitely post them up on the server so we can all sort of choose. But yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, the other thing that I'm preparing for is the Pluto occultation that's going to be taking place at it's going to be approximately taking place at 5:33 UTC on the 15th of August. So that's about 24 hours from now or so. It's 2:23 UTC on the 14th right now, and so we're looking for an occultation time of 5:33. So yeah, just like 27 hours away, something like that. So this is going to be an interesting, I think, an interesting occultation, because the star that is being eclipsed by Pluto is very, very faint. It's maybe around 13th magnitude or so, and Uncle Bill, Bobby was asking for links to live streams showing the Perseids, if that's going to be happening in the next 24 to 72 hours or so. I don't know if Damien's going to be doing it anymore. I don't know. It's it's probably easiest, right? Just to do a search, do a YouTube search for Perseid live stream, and see what pops up. Right? That's probably the best way. And in fact, that way you can find some more live streamers who are doing astronomical things, and that isn't a bad thing at all. So yeah, so tonight, at least at my location here, it's turning into evening. The sun has just set. Roughly 24 hours before this occultation takes place, which, by the way, the entirety of North America is going to see, and nobody else will. So, if you live in Europe or Australia or even South America, not going to see it. You're not going to see it. You've got to be at the right place at the right time. So this is going to be a challenging one, but to prepare for it, I'm going to do a test run tonight, my local time tonight, where I'm basically just going to spend the time trying to find that 13th magnitude star. Now, with an 8-inch telescope, with an 8-inch scope, seeing a 13th magnitude star is going to be pretty tricky. That's I dare say it's a little bit beyond the capabilities of this guy. This, by the way, is just using my own eyes, right? I'm going to put an eyepiece right there, and I'm going to be looking through this with my own eyes. I'm not going to be using a camera or that. I'm going to be doing it old school, and no cameras, no nothing at all. So yeah, I don't really have the technology needed to properly do this, with like a camera. So yeah, it's just going to be my own eyeballs, and we'll see. But tonight, it's clear. It's clear here. I've got a big cloud to my south. Got a big cloud to my south, and but I'm thinking, and you know what? Why don't I just share this? The University of Arizona has a great site for sort of the Southwest and Arizona, of course. And so let's go over there, and you can I can share with you the little satellite loop that I watch. Now, these are the visible ones, but this is the infrared one, and this is the one that I like to see because you can see it both day and night. And so here's Arizona, of course, and I'm in this area down over here. So you can see this big cloud down in Mexico, right? And I can definitely see the northern extent of that cloud and see how it's expanding, sort of beginning to dissipate and move east a little bit. You see that? So high, thin clouds like that are no good at all. And oh man, well, we'll see what happens over the next couple hours. I want to sort of do this dry run at the time of the occultation. So I'll be staying up at least until 5:30 UTC, which local time, that's 10:30 p.m. here. And I'll be keeping an eye on this.
5:30 UTC.
5:30.
You're right.
Yeah, 5:33 UTC tomorrow is the actual event. It actually starts around 5:26 and goes to about 5:38. Pluto's a big object, So this is going to be a really, really, really long event. Several minutes. So, but yeah, tonight's goal, number one, is to evaporate that cloud. Here we can just look at the latest one. Okay, so I want to evaporate this cloud because this cloud is part of the cloud is almost right over me now, and that's thin and nasty. So if I have any kind of clouds up there, seeing a star that I can barely see anyway, I'm not going to be able to see it at all. Now I do have tomorrow night, you know, to do this too, but to have to try to find the field of view might take a while, right? I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take me to find this little star. So, it could take me a couple minutes. It could take me a couple hours. I don't know. So, if I don't have to rush, right? If tomorrow I know exactly where to look, then that would be a much better thing. And so that's why I sort of want to do this dry run tonight. So hopefully that little cloud will go away and in the next couple hours or so, and I'll have some clear sky to at least find the star. Then I have to start focusing my positive vibes on a clear night tomorrow night, which is the actual event. That's what I really, really want. I gotta send some clear skies into the future and hope for the best.
Now, are you a fan of country music?
I sort of like the old stuff. I don't know if I would characterize the modern stuff as country, but so yeah, I sort of like the old stuff.
Are you more into 90s country?
I'm more into 40s, 50s, and 60s country.
Because if you was in 90s country, a good song that you would like is by George Strait, Oceanfront Property in Arizona.
I think I've heard that song, and I am really, really glad that there isn't any of that, because one of the properties of oceans that for me is sort of a turnoff is that they're really, really wet, and I'm just not into wet. I'm definitely a desert rat. I like dry. I definitely like a moderate amount of this, right? But yeah, oceans and stuff. It's just there's just too much of that stuff. Too much of a good thing,
So you would not go on a boat stuff, huh?
Well, I won't go on a boat for other reasons. Primarily, I'm extremely motion sick. So yeah, I think the last time I was on a boat was actually in the ocean, off the coast of Maui, looking at whales, and I can tell you that I barely remember that at all because I think I turned so many colors, I ran out of color. So yeah, it was I was pretty nasty. So yeah, I tend to stay away from boats and at least large collections of this amazing molecule. Cheers.
The last time I was on the boat, we was for like the biology class. We went to the marine biology at Cocotree, Louisiana. It's called LUMCOM. I don't know what it stands for. It was on a trawler ship, and then we went canoeing. I love canoeing, and I love being on.
Yeah, you know, I could probably get into like rafting and that kind of thing, river kind of stuff. I think that would be pretty fun. I've done a little tiny bit of that. Nothing like, you know, whitewater rafting or anything. You know, just sort of floating down rivers and that kind of stuff. But yeah, stay away from that. At least large bodies of that.
Stay away from the gulps and stuff, huh?
Yeah. All right, let's do an object of the day. We haven't done that in quite a while. So let's do one of the NGC objects. So I'm going to share my screen. So there are 7,840 NGC objects. This is the new general catalog. What's that, Bobby?
Check the chat.
Check the chat. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you know, this entire universe can be a pretty dangerous place. So yeah, you really have to be careful. You really have to be mindful. Yeah, it's not nice. And sorry to hear that you had that kind of experience. That is not the kind of experience that one wants to have. I've done a moderate amount of hiking around, and you know, it's absolutely gorgeous here, right? Absolutely fantastic. But it can turn on you really fast, for sure. So yeah. Okay, let's.
Story.
Yeah. All right, so let's go over to random.org, and as I said, there are 7,840 of these non-stellar objects. So these are things that aren't stars, although, you know, they can be made of stars. So we're talking about galaxies, globular clusters, open clusters, planetary nebulae, and gaseous nebulae. And some of the NGC objects are actually misidentified objects. Sometimes, you know, you look at something and it's like, you know, maybe that's a galaxy. Maybe it's a galaxy. Maybe it's a star. Don't really know. Let's call it a galaxy. Give it an NGC number. And then later on, you find out it's a star. So there are a few NGC objects, New General Catalog objects that are stars, but most of them are not stars. So here we go. Let's have random.org choose for us the object of the day. Here we go. Bam. Okay, so NGC 755. Let's go over to Simbad and check out. So the NGC catalog is approximately ordered by right ascension. So the fact that we're at 755, 755, is that what it was? Yeah. That's you know what, like 1/10 of 24 hours. So at least the right ascension of this object we can approximate is going to be around 2.5 hours or so. But let's find out exactly where. NGC 755. And let's see, 2 hours right ascension is not really in the galactic disk It's sort of outside of the galactic disk. So my guess, my moderately educated guess, is that this is probably going to be a galaxy. But yeah, who knows? I don't know. Let's find out. Ah, yes, it's a galaxy. Oh, it's a pretty galaxy, too. I'm not quite sure why they call it an emission line galaxy. That's kind of a strange terminology to me, but yeah, let's dive in here and see. Okay, so right ascension is almost 2 hours, so 1 hour, 56 minutes, 22 seconds, and a declination of negative 9 degrees, 3 minutes, 41 seconds. So just south of the celestial equator, and yeah, a couple hours off of RA. So let's see, moving away from us, it says here at least 1,641.2 kilometers per second. So that's moving pretty fast. That's pretty typical for a galaxy that's probably nearby. You know, looking at the image here, you know, the fact that we can sort of see structure usually indicates that it's pretty nearby. So sort of some interesting active regions here where it seems a little bit brighter. So this is the digital sky survey. It's sort of an older survey. And then there's the Sloan digital sky survey, which is this guy. A little higher resolution. Colors are different. But yeah, you can sort of see these active regions. We'll zoom in on this a little bit later. So this is a spiral galaxy. Well, that's what the S means there. B means that the spiral arms are sort of moderately loose. They're not incredibly tight. They're not very loose and spread out. They're just sort of moderately. I think the Milky Way galaxy could be characterized as an SB galaxy. I'm not quite sure what this CD means here. That's sort of a finer detail. Not quite sure. Lots of measurements of magnitude. So these are measurements of the brightness of this galaxy at different wavelengths. So they use different filters to measure the brightness of this galaxy. And as you can see, it's let's see, B and R are sort of in the visible wavelength. I, J, H, and K are more towards the infrared. U, G, R, and maybe I are also pretty much in the visible range, and Z, I believe, is in the infrared as well. I don't know about Z. We'd have to look that up, but it looks like it's, you know, at least a couple of magnitudes brighter in the infrared than it is in the visible. That's pretty typical for galaxies. So let's see. Here's a bunch of other names for it. Huh? Look at that. NGC 763. It has 2 NGC designations. What's up with that? I don't know about that. Should we go to NGC 763 and just sort of see what that's all about? I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Let's just do a quick look. 763. Isn't that what that said? Yeah. Huh. That's the same galaxy. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. This NGC object actually has 2 NGC numbers. Huh. Now, that's something I didn't know. Huh. Fascinating. I'm going to check in on the chat here really, really quick. Cetus, cool. So it's in the constellation of Cetus. Yeah, yeah. SBCs. SBCs, cool. Okay. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Not quite sure why it has 2 different NGC designations. Maybe we'll find out a little bit about that. Kind of interesting. Let's see. Bunch of distance measurements and velocity measurements. Let's take a look at those. Pretty good agreement too, right? Somewhere around 20 million parsecs. So grabbing my handy dandy calculator, which is always within arm's reach, 3.26 million. So that's a megaparsec is 3.26 million light years. And then we're going to multiply that by 20. Is that sort of the average here? Sort of. So we're at, yeah, see, that's pretty close. 65 million light years away. 65 million. So, yeah, that's almost in the backyard. Almost in the backyard. And pretty good agreement in terms of radial velocity. So this is how, you know, we and it are moving relative to one another in sort of a radial way. And so when these numbers are positive, which all of these are, that means that we're moving away from one another. At, you know, a clip there, you know, 1,600 kilometers per second. That's nothing to sneeze at, for sure. That's what is that? That's at least, well, it'd go all the way across the United States in 2 seconds, right? Is that right? So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good clip. Let's see, what else? What else do we have here? No, I've never looked at any of these. Should we, I don't know, should we look at a few of these? I don't even know what these are. Plots. Let's see if it does anything here. So a lot of what this live stream is we're just sort of following our nose. We're just sort of doing exactly what I'm doing here. It's like, oh, okay, don't know what this is. Let's go find out. So, okay, this is just like a little chart showing things. Obviously, I guess that's where the galaxy is. It says that we can click on it. I don't know. Oh, no target specified. Oh, I don't know what that is then. Latin applet. Get a list of objects. Okay, kind of cool. All right, so, yeah, that's kind of cool. It's sort of, you see as I move over this, it sort of highlights the box or the object in the little pop-up box there. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of nifty. Okay, well, interesting. Let's I don't know. Let's let's look at this one too. Follow our noses here. See what trouble we can get ourselves into. I've never really played with this all that much. So, wow. I guess I need to look at this offline a little bit more. I don't want to stumble around too much here, but wow, there's a lot of info here. Lots of info. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, let me I'm going to investigate this a little bit more because yeah, I'm feeling the nerd coming out, and definitely it's like data. So interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this a little bit more. As I said, I don't think I want to spend too much time poking around with things, but yeah, there's the bibliography there. Wow. So yeah, it sort of looks like this is just sort of an expanded presentation of Sinbad. So yeah. Huh. All right, we're definitely going to have to investigate this a little bit more because this might actually be even more interesting than the Sinbad site that we always go to. I like to find new things like this that just sort of overload the senses with info. Huh. Pretty nifty. Pretty nifty. Well, we were going to look at the bibliography anyway, so let's just see. I always like to check these kinds of things. So let's see. Okay, let's see if this list of references is the same. So not incredibly well studied, but oh yeah, that's exactly the same list here, just presented in a different way. So that's pretty nifty. So this is kind of interesting, towards a new classification of galaxies. So, I'm trying to, I guess this object is mentioned, right, in all of these papers, and so I guess they're using this object to maybe come up with a new way of classifying galaxies. That's kind of cool. Stellar kinematics, a deep search for faint galaxies associated with very, very low redshift carbon-4 absorbers. Outer disk reddening. H1 data collection from Green Bank. So these are all radio telescopes. Spitzer. Spitzer is a space-based infrared. I think it's infrared. Let's see. Not seeing anything specific about this galaxy. I sort of like to look for papers that sort of are specifically about our object of the day, and it looks like a lot of these papers are like catalogs and surveys. So probably not a lot of info specific to this object. Let's just sort of see if there's anything here at all. I'm not seeing much. That's kind of cool. Dun, 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 dun. Blue Galaxy Survey. The Southern Supercluster. Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything really specific to this object. I would like to know more about why it has two NGC numbers. Can't figure that one. But yeah, let's take a look here. Let's see, I've never used this particular interface, so let's see. What can we do here? This is the Digital Sky Survey. Is there a way to change that? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Not like that, at least. Manage layers, DSS colored. Here we go. SDSS. There we go. So now let's just zoom out a little bit here. Can we make this full screen? Yeah. I sort of like this interface. Okay, so there's a big elliptical galaxy over here. Here's another maybe edge-on spiral. Kind of hard to tell. Oh, maybe I zoomed in too far. I see a little bit of structure there. Huh, pretty nifty. What else we got around here? So this is in the constellation of Cetus the Whale. Don't really see any other galaxies around. Here's sort of a cluster down here. But let's take a look at some of the other surveys. Don't know what to expect here. So there's Galex. DSS. Here's 2MASS. So this is looking in the infrared. There it comes. It's pretty faint in the infrared. Iris is also an infrared. Probably not good resolution either. Yeah, I think that's all we're going to get there. DSS colored. I don't know what these other ones are. Iraq. I don't see anything. Here's Wise. Again, pretty faint. Let's see, can we reverse it? Yeah. What does that do? Oh, that's kind of cool. Grayscale. Grayscale reverse. Yeah, pretty nifty. I like this interface. It's pretty nice. And then you can export these to a PNG file, an image file. So nifty, nifty. Pretty nice. What's that, Bobby?
Probably easy gurusation on your GAMP.
Cool. All right, well, cool.
Gurusation on your GAMP.
Yeah, I think let's actually go over and see if HST has ever observed this object. Since you mentioned GIMP.
I'll talk about where I'm going to HST.
NGC 755. Now the chances are pretty low, so I just want to don't get too excited, but yeah, there's a chance, I suppose. We'll find out. Here we go. Boom. Ah, nothing. Let's just see, just for fun, if 763 probably not, but nope, nothing. Nothing at all with HST. So HST has never observed this object at all. At all. And yeah, I really didn't see any papers specific to this object. Let's do one, you know, we got to do the Google search, right? See if anybody cares about NGC 755 at all. InTheSky.org, ID 799. Huh. Oh, let's look at this. Okay, yeah, just your basic information, not anything extraordinary there.
Found a Wikipedia page if you go back.
Does it?
Yeah, look at the bottom.
Oh yeah, it's got foreign ones.
Yeah, where's the English?
At least foreign to me.
Sounds like gibberish.
Well,
yeah,
it looks like this object really hasn't been studied all that much. Although, you know, they're talking about I thought they were talking about blue galaxies and all of that, but yeah, nothing really specific about this particular galaxy. Huh. I mean, it's really bright. It's really, really bright. It's really, really close. I don't know, not quite sure why it's been as ignored as it has been. I mean, and it sort of has an interesting morphology, right? It's got all these bright chunks. I would think, you know, the people who are interested in, you know, star formation regions, you know, would be interested in that. You know, put a spectrometer on these things and see what's there. Yeah, don't know. It's it certainly is, you know, bright enough, big enough, close enough, but not very well studied. Well, I guess that's how it goes. Somebody needs to get on that. Let's see, checking back on the chat. Okay, everything's good there. All right, well, you know, I'm looking at the time, and I'm noticing that it's a couple of minutes past 3 hours UTC. And so I'm thinking that it's about time to get out of here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, they're starting to scream. I gotta get up. So, all right, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the live stream for tonight. So thank you again, everybody, for coming in. You know, sharing a passion with, you know, the science of astronomy, and I'm just the host here. I'm not, yeah, you know, nothing spectacular. Just wanted to share the passion, and you know, do a little bit of exploration, a little bit of you know, knowledge sharing, and that's about it. You know, just have a bunch of fun. So yeah, I think I'm going to get out of here for now. As I said, if it's dark and clear where you are, go out and look at the Perseids. It's pretty cool, you know, and you never know when you're going to see one. So it's always like a little, you know. So those are really, really fun. And you don't need a telescope. You don't need binoculars. You just need clear skies, um, and the darker the sky, the better. But even in the middle of the city, you'll be able to see you know brighter ones at least. Oh, by the way, there's a pretty good chance that this coming, let me get the date here, the live stream that would happen on the 18th of August, I may be canceling that one. Maybe. Depends on if it's clear. I'm going to be doing a star party for some friends, coworkers and friends, and that's going to take me away from here. So, going to drag the scope out, and we're going to look at Venus and the Moon and Jupiter and Saturn and Mars, and then probably a bunch of other things too, because there's all kinds of globular clusters, binary stars, open clusters, lots and lots of things to look at this time of year. So I guess it's going to come down to the last minute on that one, because I'm going to have to make a decision sort of late in the day in terms of clouds, right? I mean, if it sort of looks like we'll at least be able to look through holes in the clouds, then I'll probably be doing the star party. Now, there's a possibility that I will live stream from there, but it's probably not going to be too interesting on your end, because this is going to be very, very, very low tech, right? I'm going to put an eyepiece on this thing, and we're just going to be looking through it. So live stream probably isn't going to be incredibly interesting, and I'm going to have people around who may not want to be on a live stream. So that may not be incredibly interesting. There's a possibility, though, where there's a will, there's a way. I should be able to take my smartphone and actually put it onto the eyepiece. Just sort of place it on there, and you should be able to see it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll live stream from there. If I do, it'll be later, right? It'll probably be. I'm going to be starting the star party at 3 hours UTC. So if I do a live stream at all, it will be a later one. But yeah, maybe I will. If I can put in the eyepiece and have you folks, look in on that, maybe that won't be so incredibly boring. So yeah. Kind of interesting. I'm wondering. Okay, well, I'm going to get out of here for now, and so take care, everybody, and I will see you on the spin in a little less than 23 hours from now. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.
Later.